Joachim Bitterlich, who is the former European diplomatic and security policy advisor to the German Chancellor, Helmut Kohl. And we also have my two colleagues, Mehmet Solmaz, also in Hertfordshire, and Simon McGregor-Wood. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. We're going to cover all three perspectives, but first I want to put the question to Joachim Bitterlich. You have had an important role within NATO. Your thoughts as you heard the Secretary-General speaking there at NATO at the age of 70. He had some very, very, very strong words. What did you make of it?
Well, thank you very much for taking me. I think it's the role of a NATO Secretary General, let's say, to show the alliance in a positive way. But nevertheless, we have to be conscious that the alliance, well, 70 years old, it's not an age for ending this alliance at all. It's one of the most successful alliances in the world and in the history of the last century. But we have a certain crisis. And we see today, really, there is a lack of a political strategy of the alliance. You can see this through our whole relationship towards the East, especially Russia. You can see this while looking at the Middle East, and when you look, for example, at the third place, to Northern and Central Africa, that NATO is now slowly discovering at the end of the day, where the French are fighting alone. Look at the Middle East, where Turkey has gone most on its own way, and on Russia, where we are back, let's say, to a sort of Cold War. And therefore, this shows to me, at least, that there is a certain crisis and there's a certain lack of dialogue between NATO members, and there's a lack of a political strategy.
I also want to ask you, Turkey has been a NATO member for many years, since the 1950s, and it is facing some challenges within the organization. Do you think Turkey's point of view will be listened to, and that when the president comes back, that his needs will have been achieved?
You know, one of the most important elements in an alliance like NATO is to understand partners, to listen to them, to understand their worries, to understand their vital interests. This is, for me, the key of a relationship. And my impression is we have not, let's say, looked at Turkey in the last, let's say, 10, 15 years with the most careful eyes in order to understand Turkey, to understand its reactions or its reflexes, if you want. I've learned in the relationship with Turkey that one of the key elements of any Turkish politics is the territorial integrity of a country. And once Turkey even feels threatened in this territorial integrity, Turkey is reacting sometimes in a, perhaps in our eyes, irrational way. But we have to understand this. And therefore what we need is a real, thorough dialogue with Turkey on these questions.
Thank you so much. Joachim Bitterlich, a former European diplomatic and security policy advisor to the German Chancellor, Helmut Kohl. Thank you so much for speaking to us on TRT World.